Greetings, everyone. May you please give me 2 minutes? I'll be back so that we can start the session. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, everyone. I hope you are all doing good. Greetings from the Ninth Executive Council of the Association of Gambian Students in India, the University of the Gambia Debate Association, UTGDA, and all members of Gamin and all its well-wishers present here tonight. I am Abdullah Abba, and I'll be your moderator for tonight's session. Um, Tonight we will be having two states, that is Punjab and Assam, debating on a very important issue that has to deal with migration. As we all know, that migration is a global issue. Yeah, so before we kickstart the debate, as we all know that it is a norm in Gamin to begin every session with opening prayers. So we urge all of you present here to take 1 minute of your time and pray in our various ways. May all our prayers be accepted. Yes, from there, I would like to call on the Presidential Department to give the opening remarks.
Okay. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. A very good evening to the people in India and good afternoon to the people in Gambia. Yeah. So today too we have another battle of ideas. The last ideas is the last team of the quarterfinals. That is Assam versus Punjab. So I wouldn't say much. I'm sorry for not turning on my camera because I'm in a dark place right now. It has no current. Yeah, so I guess we can just kickstart with it already. We are waiting for the amazing ideas from both teams. And yeah, we just want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our official partners, that is the UTGDA. We are thanking you once again from the entire executive. Yeah, so thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. We can proceed. May the best team win. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. VP, for wonderful opening remarks. From there, I will move on to our next agenda, that is introducing the adjudicators. So, to the adjudication desk, if you are present, may you please let me know.
Yes, we are in attendance.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tamba. May I also confirm the presence of the debaters from Punjab and Assam, the participants? Fatih, Pamalikam. Is all right. Thank you, thank you. You may please put your hands down. All right. Yes. So from there, I will actually hand over the baton to the adjudication desk to proceed. So the floor is yours, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Greetings to each and every one of you. Please, you can kindly confirm if I am audible, and if my tone is low, you can also let me know. All right, thank you so
Yes.
much. Yes, so it's all about the GAM Interstate Debate Championship, and of course, we are heading to the quarterfinals on a very interesting motion. This House will abolish all limits on immigration. And this motion is going to be debated on by Punjab and Assam. Punjab would be going for the motion, only the government bench, while Assam would be going against the motion, also known as the opposition bench. And today we have myself, Musa Tamba, as one of the adjudicators, alongside Mr. Gasimba and Mr. Laminba. So basically, we are going to adjudicate you on the following. First, we will be looking at your content, which goes for 40 marks, or 40%, would I say. And under your content, we will be looking at your arguments, your thinking and analysis and research. Secondly, we are going to look at your structure, which goes for 30%. And under your structure, we will be looking at clarity and coherence, understanding of your role as a speaker, and logical flow of ideas. Thirdly, we are going to also look at your rebuttals, which goes for 20%. And rebuttals, we will be looking at the definition for the Prime Minister and rebuttals for other speakers. We would also be looking at listening and engaging points of information, also known as POI. Then finally, we will be looking at your time management. How well are you able to manage your time? And that has to do with adherence to the time limit, which is 7 minutes. Your pacing as a speaker would also be looked at, and then we would be looking at your final summary. And without further ado, we would want to hear the Prime Minister if the House is set. Of course, the motion before the House is this House will abolish all limits on immigration. So, Mr. or Madam Prime Minister, if you are set, please, the floor is.
May I confirm my visibility and my audibility, please?
Okay, sorry, we would clap. The timekeeper will be with us here. We would clap for you to start, and you can pay attention when your time is up. There will be a first clap for you to start, and when it is 1 minute, we are going to clap again to show it to you that your protected time is over. And when it is 6 minutes, we are going to clap again to show you that your protected time is over. Now you are on the sorry, your unprotected your protected time is over. Now you are going to protected time, and then we will clap at the 7 minutes to indicate to you that your time is up. And 7 minutes 15 seconds, we will clap continuously for you to stop. I hope that is understood. So yes,
A line on a map should never decide who lives and who suffers, because at the heart of this debate lies one truth: borders divide, but people unite. Honorable Speaker of the House, Honorable Speaker of the House, allow me to give you the rundown of my debate. That's my structure. I will remind the House about the motion, define the key terms of this debate, set a parameter, give my argument, pre-rebuttal, summarize, and in summary, I shall conclude. Now, to define the key terms of the debate, first word that I have is abolish. It means to formally put an end to a system, practice, or an institution. Another word that I have is immigration, the action of coming to live permanently in a foreign country. The last word that I have is limits, a point or level beyond which something does not or may not extend or pass. My source is from English Oxford Dictionary. Now to set the parameter of this debate. For this debate, Honorable Prime Minister, we define the motion as the Gambia removing all legal limits on immigration, including visas, residence permit, and quotas, allowing anyone to freely enter, live, and work in the country. Now, to my argument. My first argument I have is economically, immigration fuel growth. Yes, opening tourism attracts investors and entrepreneurs, which creates employment opportunity in the country and also economically develop our country. Now, let's look at the statistics that was given around our tourism sector employs 20% of Gambia, which contributes to 17% of our GDP, which shows that if our country is not opening its borders to people, then where is the tourism sector there itself? Then it means that people will be unemployed. So economically, immigration fuel growth. And another thing that I want to talk about is remittance from the Gambians abroad total up to 775 million in 2024, roughly about 31.5% of the GDP, which was reported by World Bank. This shows that if our people can move to other country and economically develop our country, why can't we allow people to come and stay in our country to economically develop their country? Yes.
Now, if we allow those people to go there and work for them, are we still bridging the gap between what they left behind, like the developments, the skills for our country to develop?
Of course, we are bridging the gap, because if other countries to come in our country and work there, that means that they are going to develop. They are also bridging the gap between them. So let's talk about the same point. Let's talk about India, for example. India as a country before 1991 was a very, very poor country, but they developed themselves through their 1991 policy, which was put forward by their economics and their parliamentarian, which says that India is going to introduce a policy of LGP, which means liberalization, privatization, and globalization, which means opening up their borders will help them to economically grow. Now, India is the fourth largest economy in the world, which shows that did not happen overnight. So it shows that economically, immigration fuel growth. Going to my second point, if freedom of movement is a human right, yes, borders are man-made barriers, but that borders are man-made barriers that deny people the opportunity to already. Now in Gambia, 60%, 60% a survey conducted by Afrobarometer in 2018 shows that 60% of Gambians want to migrate to other country and work there. So that shows that they know they are human rights as people. And also the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948 shows that people can move freely to other countries without any restriction. So why can't we move freely in our country by restricting others? Why are we the Gambians wanting to restrict others to come into our country? That doesn't make any sense, of course. Another thing that I want to talk about is my third point is justice and historical responsibility. Yes, our borders were drawn by colonial powers, by the British and the French and other people. The Gambia was narrow, stripped out of Senegal, cutting through Mandinka, Fula, Jola, and the Wolof community. The 2023 census data shows that 5% of the immigrants in the Gambia live peacefully there. So if they are living peacefully, why aren't we letting them in our country? Why aren't other people to come and stay in our country so that they can develop our country very well, which is a very good thing for our country. So justice and historical responsibility. And also over 3 million enslaved Africans were taken from Senegambia region. Abolition limits is a moral correct of the past injustice. If history forced our people to our people across in chains, we must open up our borders to freedom. So that shows that it's a good thing. So to pre-revolt, I know my worthy opponent might come here and talk about of security issues, immigrants will be taking our job, and immigrant will dilute Gambian culture. Now, to talk about the security issues, are you for real? You want to doubt our security sector in the Gambia? Opening borders does not mean lawlessness in the country. Deportation in the Gambia in 2024 shows that 350, showing that enforcement is already 350 people were deported, showing that our enforcement is already cautious and selective of the people who are committing crime in our country, and they are sent back. Proper regulations and law enforcement can track and protect residents. Another thing that you people, my worthy opponents might talk about is immigrants will take jobs from the Gambia. Are you for real? Who told you that immigrants come into the country to take up our jobs? Don't you know that Senegalese in the country and Fulans, they start from the low level. They take up jobs which you know that even Gambians are not willing to take. They start from selling from the plate and then build up. Before you know it, in the next 2 years, they build up their own shops, big shops, which you know that they even employ Gambians, which is even adding to our economy and GDP. So then another thing that they might talk about is immigrants will dilute Gambia. Our Gambian culture is too pure for it to be diluted by only 5% of immigrants in the country. And also, do you know that cultural diversity also fuels, strengthen the Gambia? Cultural diversity is very important. Now, to summarize my debate, Honorable Speaker of the House, I have come before this Honorable House to talk about to give three definitions that was about limits, abolition, and immigration. I have give my points, which are economic, immigration fuels economy. On second one that I talked about was freedom of movement is human, and the last point that I've talked about was justice and historical responsibility. I have pre-rebutted the baseless one that might be put forward by the opposition bench, which is security risks, immigration taking our job, diluting our Gambian culture. Now to conclude, for the Gambia's prosperity, justice, and humanity, there is only one choice. Open our doors, welcome the world, and embrace the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Prime Minister. Give us time to enter your mark, please. Okay. If the House is set, we are ready to hear from the opposition leader. Mr. Opposition Leader, are you with us? Or am I not audible?
Good evening, honorable speakers, esteemed judges, Members of the House, my name is Pamali Sise, representing Assam State. Today, as I stand the leader of the oppositions, I raise strongly to oppose the motion this House will abolish all limits on immigration. Honorable Speaker, I will first tell you my the rundown of my debate and rebut all the baseless points of the Prime Ministers. Then present 3 solid points, summarize, and finally conclude. Honorable Speaker, the Prime Minister does not understand the motion clearly, because this should be something broad, not only limited to a particular country like Gambia. This immigration is something that affects both the living country and the destination they are going. But for her, he is just focusing on the country they are living from, without considering the other country. Now, reviewing the following points the Prime Minister mentioned, she mentioned of the freedoms and human rights. Freedom is never absolute. Even in free societies, we regulate so that the ensure there is fairness and safety. Without these regulations, there will be no limits. We are not arguing that whether immigration is something good or bad, but we are saying there must be a limit, there must be a restriction or control on it. We cannot read everything freely. That's what we are debating on. And for her, is considering only the country they are living. Even that country, when there is no freedom, when the freedom is not controlled, it's something everyone will be doing something that they are willing without considering the effect on the country. He mentioned of the economic growth. The economic growth is something very important for every country. But depending on you consider your country, your capacity, growth and capacity should be something that we match, not just you say that those people come in, they will not take our people in, but there is a capacity. We don't have that enough capacity like to employ all those people, because we are having people that we should employ and we are not employing those people yet. And we are considering those people leaving the borders, everyone enter. And this one can increase crimes, even terrorism. These are something that the Prime Minister should have addressed, but he just overlooked them. And he mentioned of that justice.
You're right.
Yeah. I said, go on. Okay. He mentioned of the justice. Justice is something very important for vital for countries, but there must be a policy or control. When there is no control, what is the essence of making those justice in that country? There must be a limit.
You're right,
Considering
please.
who should come. Go on, go on.
Okay, given that the Gambia already issue over 100,000 ECOWAS ID cards for free movement without major security problem, why assume that abolishing this limit would suddenly create danger?
There is still problem. People are still entering. When there is no restriction, people will enter. They can make organized crimes. They can sit and make organized. They can enter everything, smuggle everything, human trafficking, everything, because no one will take you in the borders. They can just come and pass the borders. Still, it will be affecting us. Now, moving to my points, Honorable Speaker, I will present 3 concrete argument points, which are public services overloads, 2, security and border control, 3, drill the brains and economic imbalance. To start with, removing all, we talk about the public services overload. When we remove all limits on immigrations, it will increase the population growth, and this will affect the public service that are provided by the government, affordability, and we know that they are cheap. But when there is no restriction, it will increase. People will demand hard, and those supplying these services may charge high prices. Now we have evidence from the UK. The net migration reached 745,000 in 2020, the highest ever record. This increases immigration has put more pressure on public services like the National Health Services, which have only 40,000 nurses and tenders. How can those people treat all those people? What we are facing there? There must be a balance. You cannot just say free restrictions without knowing your capacity. You must know your capacity in order to help these people. And in the Gambia also, the Gambia he's talking about, Banjul faced a housing deficit of over 50,000. This is reported by the Gambia Statistical Bureau. And this condition make it difficult to absorb the new migrant. How will we absorb it? Because we are having deficit of 50,000. We cannot absorb all those new entrants. There must be a balance. Why this matter? Without limit, countries can keep up with demand. School, jet, crowded hospitals, short staff. Housing also will be very expensive. Without any limit, everyone come. The houses, they can change. They can charge every price because they know that the demand is high. Any price you charge, people will be willing to pay it so that they can stay. My second point will be security and border control. Abolishing immigration limit means abandoning border checks, preventing the procedures, legal framework that protect the national security. When there is no restrictions, this will also affect us. My third point will be brain drain and economic imbalance. It also causes unlimited migration, encouraging skilled workers to leave their developing countries, creating dependence on remittance. Yeah, they will leave it, and those dependence on remittance is something that affects countries because it cannot change the reality what they left behind. Those talent we lost, we cannot have it to develop our countries. Summary of my debate. Honorable Speaker, as the leader of the opposition, I have shown why abolishing all migrations is dangerous and unrealistic, why the Prime Minister argued about those freedoms. I demonstrated that without this limit, ideals will be collapsed, and it will lead to pressure and insecurity in the country. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, migration should be regulated, not abundant. Limit exists to protect both citizens and migrants. Removing this could destabilize the economy, weakens and damage the society. Thank you for your kind attention.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Honorable Opposition Leader. Give us some time to get back to you.
Jeff Bezos is the third richest man in the world at the time of making this video. He grew his company from a one-man operating in an office to a $1 trillion conglomerate. He started his business in 1994 by selling books online, and now he sells everything. However, e-commerce is part of his business empire. He founded and acquired multiple businesses on the Amazon. Businesses like Twitch, Whole Foods, Kindle, Alexa, featuring the Echo, Echo Plus, Echo Dot, Echo Dot Kids, Amazon Tab, Echo Connect, Echo Spot, Echo Show, and Echo Look, and over 80 other consumer brands that you are probably unaware of. But the subsidiary that makes Jeff Bezos the most profit is Amazon Web Services. The Web Services is a computing and a cloud-based company that powers nearly half of the internet. If the web service goes down, nearly half of the internet will go down, including Netflix, Facebook, Twitter, the CIA, and a lot more. Bezos is a relentless businessman who wants to dominate the world with its businesses. And when you come to Gambia, a population of less than 2.5 million, there's this guy, Mohamed Jah. He is similar to Bezos when it comes to business domination. He is the founder and CEO of the Q Group. Like Amazon, the Q Group also has up to 12 subsidiary companies. It has QuantumNet, Espas Motors, Natural Mineral Water, QCell, Ajibank, QCity, QTV, Q Radio. The list goes on. But all of this started with one.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ms. Fai. Yes, that marks the end of the first half of the debate. And now we are moving down to the second half of the debate. If the House is set, we would want to hear from the Deputy Prime Minister.
Am I visible and audible, please?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
The Gambia itself was born from migration. Our rivers welcome settlers, travelers, and dreamers. And to abolish the limits on immigration is to return to who we truly are. I mean, to who the Gambia truly is. Speaker of the House, in my humble capacity as the Deputy Prime Minister, allow me to lay down the structure of my debate. First and foremost, I will start by rebutting the baseless point given by the opposition leader. I mean, when God was granted people's sense, this opposition leader was not present. Setting the points of my beautiful Prime Minister, give 3 valid points backed by facts, statistics, and evidence, summarized, and in summary, I rest my case. Strictly following the structure of my debate, started with the rebuttals. Honorable prime opposition leader, something is wrong with your head. I mean, you came before this honorable house that consists of intellectuals, not just people like yourself. You have the audacity to challenge the very thing that was said by the prime minister. Something must be wrong with you. You came here, you are talking about organized crimes. But thank God, as I said, my prime minister is the only one with sense in this house as far as I am concerned, because she pre-reported some of the points that were given by the opposition leader, which is the security reasons. She was talking about the immigrants taking our jobs and immigrants taking over our jobs and so on and so forth. Most of them, all of those are pre-reported by the opposition leader. And you came here, you were talking about public service overloaded. I mean, how is our public service overloaded? How is it overloaded? When was it overloaded? And who are the people that overload this public service that they are talking about? We have to, because that wasn't clear as far as this house is concerned. And after saying that, you went again. You were talking about the Gambia. Yeah. That the Gambia public service is on the, is overloaded. Yes, please.
The public service overloaded if there's no limit, because this house is very, the motion is very clear. If there's no limit, there's no control.
Thank you. The public service overloaded, as you said. You didn't tell this house how is the public service overloaded. The public service, how it is overloaded? Like how? We have to know. How is the public service underrated? Because as far as I am concerned, there is still space in the public service. I mean, they are still employing people as far as the public service is concerned. So how is it overloaded? And you went ahead to take an example. You are talking about the Gambian public service, and you're taking an example related to UK. You are saying evidence has showed that the UK, which has only 1,000 nurses and 1,000 hospitals. How does that make sense? That is bogus as far as I am concerned. And you went ahead and said that without limits, there will be overloading of houses, there will be overloading of jobs. Opposition leader, are you sure you're okay up there? If there are these limits, though right now people are in the Gambia, they are foreigners in the Gambia. Is there anything like overloading of houses? If there anything like no job or no jobs, or is there anything like, I mean, please, because as far as I'm concerned, and this house, there are jobs still available in the Gambia. There are houses, because agricultural sector is going fine. The government sector, I mean, every aspect of the government is moving fine. So how, please? And the security and the border controls that they are talking about, thank God my prime minister already reported that point. And they are talking about the remittance on the dependence on remittance. I mean, seriously, the dependence on remittance, you must be joking. So moving on to the strengthening of my points of my prime minister, she came before this house, she gave 3 valid points, which is first of her point was freedom of movement is a human right. I mean, Speaker of the House, let's look at the international basis. So according to Article 13 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has a right to leave any country and return to their own, but in spirit, and this expands to global freedom of movement as far as this house is concerned. Second, inflation threatens our economy. I mean, according to the remittance evidence, which opposition leader is claiming to say here. So according to the remittance evidence, in 2024, Gambians abroad sent back nearly 776 million United States dollars, which is equivalent to 3.5% of our Gambian GDP. That of a point was about justice and historical responsibility. I mean, Speaker of the House, if we talk about justice and historical responsibility, we have to know that 9.4% of the Gambians in 2019 were actually born outside the Gambia and not in the Gambia. Moving on to my own points, Honorable Speaker. First of my point is moral and humanitarian responsibility. I mean, migration is a natural human instinct, which we all know. People have always moved inside of safety, inside of good education, inside of better opportunities, jobs, etc. So when the government impose strict immigration limits, I mean, they don't stop migration. They only make it dangerous and inhuman. And billions and millions of young Gambians are able to find legal migration routes, reach the back way. So they cross this Mediterranean Sea, where many drown in this Mediterranean Sea, and the Sahara Desert, where a lot of billions and millions of people die of illness, of thirst, of hunger, etc. So we are sending a clear message. We, the government bench, are sending a clear message that we choose humanity over fear. Let's look at the statistics. The death on the backway route in 2024. So according to the Gambian migration activist Al-Hadi Sedi Barrow, approximately 1,606 Gambians died in 2024 while attempting irregular migration to Europe. And in this, 1,557 deaths occurred at sea during the Mediterranean crossings, while 46 occurred in land, mostly in Sahara Desert, all due to limits on immigration. You can just imagine. The third point, sorry, the Thai statistics, the International Organization for Migration, which is the IOM, estimates that over 3,000 migrants died globally in 2022 to 2023 while attempting the Mediterranean and other sea. And guess what? Just guess. Gambia consistently ranks among the top nationalities. Let's look at my second point, honorable speaker, which is global integration and opportunities. I mean, we live in a globalized world. I mean, goods and money are moving. So why would human beings move from one place to another? I mean, why shouldn't we? So let's look at the educational aspect. I mean, Gambia, even though we have only one university that belongs to the government, which is the UTGDA, and one technical institute that belongs to the government, which is the USET, but we can attract people, we can attract other countries. I mean, that are interested in joining the Gambia educational system, either at the UTG or USET. I mean, across the globe or across West Africa. Let's look at the investment. I mean, business people will no longer see immigration as a barrier for the establishment of companies. Look at these Guineans, these Nigerians, these Salonians that are in the Gambia. I mean, they are boosting our Gambian economy and adding to our GDP. Let's look at the skilled labors. So, moving on to my type one, which is social and cultural enrichment. I mean, the Gambia itself is built on migration. The Mandinka, the Fula, the Jola, the Syrian. I mean, we all migrated to the Gambia. So immigration just adds diversity. I mean, new foods. We are in Gambia. We are in India. We are enjoying the Bhangra dance. I mean, the Pani Puri and the biryani and all of that. So the statistics have shown that foreign nationals in the Gambia by the 2024 census, that the Senegalese nationals, you know, the Guinean nationals, the Salarian, the Nigerians, and so on and so forth. So let's look at the Fulas. The Mandinkas consist of 40 to 44% of the people. The Fula 18 to 24% of the people. The whole of that consists of 15 to 16% of the population, and other groups such as the Jola, the Sarahula, the Syrian, Apus, etc. Together make up the rest. That is the 10 to 15% of the population. So, Honorable Speaker, to summarize my debate, I came before this Honorable House, reported the baseless point given by the opposition leader, which is obviously sick in the head, straighten the points of my Prime Minister, give 3 valid points, which were moral and humanitarian responsibility. My second point was the international organization. My second point was global integration and opportunity. My third point was social and cultural enrichment. And to conclude, I hereby firm Stanley to tell this House that Gambia without limits is a Gambia without borders to progress. To repeat, Gambia without limits is a Gambia to progress. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Prime Minister. Just give us some time to get back.
List goes on, but all of this started with one: Quantum Net. He started Quantum in his bedroom.
As many of you already know, the Q group started from very modest beginnings, from my bedroom at my parents' home. Today, I am proud to say that I, together with my hard-working staff, have successfully grown this business into a multinational company comprising of several businesses that touch on the lives of the daily activities of Gambians.
When Mohamed Jah came back to Gambia with his degree in electronics and communications from college, the plan was to apply for an engineering job. But really, as he met an old friend, and the friend told him that he was on his way to the airport to pick up a consultant who was coming to teach their department staff how to use computers. He said, "How come we have a consultant coming all the way from Europe just to teach our people how to type a letter on a computer?" That was funny but serious to me, and there and then I decided that I was going to start teaching people computing. So he used money saved from his studies and a loan from his uncle, which totaled approximately $16,000. With 4 employees, he started QuantumNet Institute, teaching basic to advanced level IT courses to individuals and organizations. At the time, the only internet service provider was the Gamtel, which only operated during government working hours. Jah discovered another opportunity. He realized that there was a need for a 24-hour internet service provider and decided to take on the challenge of becoming that ISP. So he went to Gamtel and purchased bandwidth and began competing with them in the ISP domain, making him the Gambia's first private internet service provider. Because Gamtel was only open during working hours, Jah ensured that his company was open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that was his competitive advantage. QuantumNet was profitable and business was booming, so Jah decided to open the QuantumNet Superstore, where he began selling household goods and eventually became the distributor for Dell, Samsung, and other major brands in the Gambia. His company taught people how to use computers, provided internet access, and sold various household products. He was adding so much value and making so much money at that point. But the more money he made, the hungrier he became, and he felt like...
Thank you so much.
We are set to hear from the final speaker, Deputy Opposition Leader. We are all ears.
Unfortunately, my Deputy Prime Minister is having some issues. Now I'll just step in because he is not available. Honorable Speaker, as the Deputy Prime Minister, the most ignored reality faced by the countries like the Gambia, where migration is both lifeline and liability. When we talk about liability, I think most people know liability, what we mean liability at the OINs. There is not asset we are relying on. Before I present my own arguments, let me strengthen my opposition leader points, which is one, the public service overloads. The opposition leader rightly warned that the ultimate immigration could overwhelm public services, which is something indeed happening. When there is no limit of control on that, more population will not have the capacity to control, which can lead to depressions and can cause a lot of problems in the country. In Nigeria, rapid urban migration has led to overcrowded cities. We make it clear we are not limiting ourselves to our country, Gambia, because this immigrations limit affect all the country, without the living country and where they are entering. Has led to overcrowded cities like Lagos, where over 60% of the residents live in informal settlements without access to clean water or healthcare, because we don't have the capacity. Even though you are living them, there's no living, you don't control, you don't ask for anything about their passport, controlling those people, the number of people that should enter, so that the development plans, we can know how to help them, but there's nothing like that, it affects them. This is reported from Nigeria Urbanization Report. In the Gambia, our own country, we see the Banjuls, 40% increase in school enrollment over the past decade, but classroom size and teacher storage remains. This sources from the Ministry of Basic Education. Even though there is still increase there, but we don't have that enough classrooms, and shortage of the teachers remain critical. The second point of my opposition leader, security and border control. The opposition leader emphasizes the dangers of removing border checks, because when we say abolishing those limits on immigration, meaning that removing the border check, there will not be any check. You will just come and pass. No one will ask you, no one will disturb you. And we know that most West African countries, especially in Gambia, there is porous borders have allowed extremist groups that can do human trafficking, terrorism, even organized crimes. Now you just organize, you sit, you target a place because there is no control in that country. Gambia, like a border system, has made it difficult to track in entries and exits. Even Gambia, Senegal, when I was going, for us, they just write our names. But Senegal, they scan and take our fingerprints. Why? So that the borders are not that well secure. If there's no limits or no control now, no one asks what will happen. A lot of crimes are happening in the Gambia. It will just increase. He talked about the economic imbalance and drill also. Ghana, 45% medical graduate within 5 years of qualified and living rural clinic understaffed, because they know that what they will get outside it will be more. That's why we must control. There must be limit. All those people, when they are passing, you will know. When they are trying to pass, you check them. You know that this is a doctor. He is trying to do illegal
migration to go to any country, you can just stop there. I'll reboot the
Pure
points of the.
economics.
I'll reboot the point of the global. Okay, you can go on.
Okay. So you are saying we should deny people the opportunity and safety just because perfect security doesn't exist?
Yes, we should deny them. We don't say that limits should be there. We should don't say they totally remove. Maybe 5,000 people can go out. Not all of them can go out. We are saying that there must be a limit. Now, I'll further about the Deputy Prime Minister. She mentioned of the global integration. When there's global integrations, meaning still now there should be a limit there. Interaction should be in the group, but that doesn't mean that we will remove all the rules and regulations or control or restrictions. He mentioned of the social and culture. Yeah, cultures can be there, but when we take the so what which are irregular migration crisis, there is irregular migration. It will cause in 2023 over 1,500 Gambians were repatriated from the Libya and Niger after failed migration attempt may suffer abuse. This is reported from the migrant Gambia migration updates. When there is no limit or control, it will always lead to regular migration crisis. Many people expected to double by 2050, standing land, water, and urban infrastructure. Yeah, Gambia population, when we don't control this illegal, when we don't limit these migrations, it will always increase. We will affect dependence on the environment, our democratic pressures, and those government, they don't have any capacity to control those things. We talk about the policy success required. This is my last point. The policy success required. Any policy that can be success must depend on there's some limit or there's some restrictions for policies to be able to implement. When there's no restriction, we cannot implement those policies. The Gambia Diaspora Investment Program channel remittance into development only possible with managed immigration. When there's managed immigration, this is reported from the Ministry of Defense Affairs Diaspora Strategy. Closing, I will summarize by telling this house as I came to the house and first strengthened my opposition leaders' points, then reboot the Deputy Prime Minister's point, and then present 3 solid points. And then I will conclude by saying that, Mr. Speaker, the opposition leader laid out the compelling case, and I have, with the global evidence, the world needs smart, humans, and control migration, not limitless movement. Let us vote against the motion and upload policies to protect both migrants and the nation. In order to protect both migrants and nations, we must have limit the number of people that can. Thank you for your kind attention.
Yes, thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Opposition Leader. And that marks the end of the debate. So give us some time to tally your marks, and then we would come forward, give analysis. From there, we would announce the results. So I hand over the floor to the moderator. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and also the participants from Assam and Punjab for those wonderful deliberations. For now, the floor is open for any contribution. So, to the general members, if you have any contributions to make, you may please raise your hand up. So
if you followed by, then you have Senegalese nationality, then you have Guineans. Senegalese are just 1.7% according to GBOS. Guineans are 1.5%. Then you have Sierra Leoneans are 0.3. Then you have Nigerians 0.4, and the trend continues. You have Liberians, Ghanaians, and so on. I was just saying, if you follow the trend of these statistics, you will come to understand that Gambian immigration is regional, basically. Most of the people that immigrate into Gambia are from regional countries and neighboring countries like Senegal, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and others. So when it comes to certain problems and when it comes to certain issues, when it comes to immigration, it has to be contextualized in the Gambian context. So if you are to bring non-African countries or European countries or some of the points, like for instance, I had public service. I mean, I feel like that was more of a Eurocentric point than an African point, because we are not facing that in the Gambia. Immigration is not the cause of that issue in the Gambia. And sometimes I feel like in this debate, the challenges that were brought forward are mainly development challenges of the Gambia and not due to immigration. It was not immigration that actually caused some of the challenges that we had. So if you had also mentioned that security challenges are a problem in this country, I mean, I will also expect you to bring statistics from the police, the Gambia police, to show that, this nationality has been committing a lot of crimes, or at least side cases where you have, I can remember vividly well, I think just few weeks back, there were these problems of, cyber crime that was, done by some of these foreign nationals from Nigeria, and I think Sierra Leoneans were also part of these crimes. So if you are to back yourself when it comes to security issues, when it comes to this motion on immigration, I would have loved to hear from, some of the statistics from the Gambia police. But generally, I think this was a very good debate when it comes to research. We had a lot of statistics generally from the UN and others, Oxford Dictionary and other sources. But just local context was lacking in this debate. But it was okay, as the perimeter was further on extended by the Deputy Prime Minister. So I think this is what I have for now, and I will hand it over back to my boss, Musa Tamba. You can take it over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ba. So both judges were able to do justice to what was expected of them. So they've in fact made the work easier. I have few things to say with regard to the debate. So Miss Prime Minister, you did a very fantastic job. But there were some certain things that we expected from you that you did not. First, this is a policy motion. This House will abolish all limits on immigration. And when you are to debate on a policy motion, you are expected to tell us how are we going to do this. And that was not done, even though you were able to fulfill most of your roles and responsibilities. Yeah. So next time you can kindly tell us how are we going to implement this particular policy. And you also you gave a lot of statistics. That was very good. But one of the statistics that you've given was not backed by any source or evidence, wherein you were making pre-rebuttals on security issues. You talked about 350 people were deported, but you were unable to tell us according to what source and etc. So quickly, I will also move down to the deputy opposition leader. Sorry, the opposition leader rather. So opposition leader, I think you have some problems with regard to your points. When you were explaining them, I think you could have gone deep and make us understand what you were trying to explain. Most especially when you talked about security and border control on your second point. So yeah, I think the other guy, the deputy opposition leader, aside the opposition leader, deputy opposition leader, you had issues like we were finding it very difficult to have that close eye contact with you. And the purpose of you turning on your camera is to at least have an eye contact with the judges. So please, you can kindly improve on that. Aside, I think you all did great, and you are very, very good debaters. And what I can say is keep practicing, keep debating, for in debate you shall be heard. So aside, I would want to go ahead to make the announcement of the results. Give me some time. Yes, and here goes the announcement of the results for the quarter-final of GAM in the championship. On a motion, this House will abolish all limits on immigration, 68%. And the opposition bench, Assam, scored 57%. The best speaker goes to the Deputy Prime Minister. I repeat, the government bench, Punjab, scored 68%. The opposition bench, Assam, scored 57%. And the best speaker goes to the Deputy Prime Minister. Let me paste the results in the chat box. Yes, that's it. And thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much for the debate. And I would want to hand over the floor to the moderator. Thank you. And until then.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chambers, and to the education desk for those wonderful analysis and also the results. I'd also like to congratulate both teams, that is Assam and Punjab. From there, I would like to invite the Auditor General, Mr. Seni Bojang, for the closing remarks.
Assalamu alaikum once again. Mr. Moderator, thank you again for having me back. As the auditor of this association, I have been quietly observing tonight's debate. Actually, today I want to give this closing remark in relation to audit to make it a bit lively, kind of, to show the Gungurians that their bosses are here. You know, Gunjurical people are always our kids. You know, as the auditor of this association, I have been quietly observing tonight's debate, checking every argument, verifying every claim, and making sure no one overstayed their asset and or hide their liability in logic. Both Punjab and Assam have balanced their book very well tonight, I can say. The figures, we are not in rupees rather, but in reasoning. And to the motion, this House will abolish all limits on migration, was thoroughly audited with passion, clarity, and solid evidence by both states. Now, when the judges deliver their verdict, it reminds me of what auditors always say: audit is an opinion, but an opinion that is based on facts and evidences. And tonight, our judges have been the auditors of this wonderful debate house, and they give their opinion after carefully checking the facts and points that both states have presented to them. And to the debaters, your intellectual capital is fully accounted for, and to our audience, your support has been the retained earning that keeps this championship alive. You are the engines of GAMIN. So I close my audit report in a simple term: no misstatement detected. Tonight's debate is certified true and fair. Congratulations to both the teams, and let's keep the same energy for the semi-final. Thank you, and may your arguments and your ledgers always state. Yeah. No, it's not. It's not unqualified. The opinion is unqualified. I will say it's too unfair. Thank you, and may your arguments and ledgers always stay balanced. I thank you all. Let's have a wonderful night.
Thank you so much, Mr. Auditor General. Yeah, so I think from there we might end this session. Good night. Fanana Jama.